Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of The Second Opinion. I'm Arvin.
I'm Neve.
I'm Ray.
I'm Srinjoy.
And these are our participants for today's podcast. Today's podcast has a rather interesting topic, which is relating to the conspiracy theories surrounding COVID-19. So just a little notification for our viewers. Unfortunately, we had to stop for some time after the COVID-19 pandemic and due to the MCO. But quite fortunately, we've restarted again. So I'd like to thank the participants today. Thank you for taking the time to join. And I think we can get started with today's topic. So I think a general, just one round of views from each of you. We can probably start with Ray about what you think about these conspiracy theories during the COVID-19 pandemic.
No, the thing is, conspiracy theories have been out for a long time. And whenever something new happens, whenever something negative happens, people always get really weird theories about it. And it's fine because at first it's usually just jokes, but it's when it spreads through your mom sending it to you through WhatsApp and your grandma looking at it at Facebook. And after a while, it garners a significant amount of attention. Mm-hmm. That's when people start to believe in it. Because at first people are going to be like, that's not true. But then when they notice but my friend said this and then she said that and my neighbor backs my claim. Why does my dog look at me funny? And then they're like, oh, okay, maybe it is true. And then as it keeps spreading, especially in America, the land of the free, things get out of control, like we see now.
Very true.
I don't use 5G personally because I believe in the COVID. But yeah, conspiracy theories are bad only when it gets out of hand.
Okay, fair enough.
I would say that they do seem quite widespread, but I think these kinds of ways of thinking appeal to a specific kind of personality type.
Dumb people, sorry. Yeah.
More like
Newman Debate Society does not take any responsibilities for the claims viewed here.
It's more as in because the pandemic, it's scary, like a worldwide pandemic, and no one knows what's going on. At first, even the healthcare professionals didn't know. So when you come up with conspiracy theories to try and justify or explain these things away, it gives people a sense of security almost. But the thing that makes them dangerous is even if it's not many people that are believing this thing, it can still have consequences, especially in terms of health. Just people saying, oh, wearing a mask doesn't help, so you shouldn't wear one. That impacts other lives too. It's not just as much as just a belief, because it has real world consequences on other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good point. Stranger?
I don't know. I think people have too much free time. Or tons of free time, and they're gonna talk about some stupid stuff. I don't know. Some of the things that I've seen, recently on one of my family WhatsApp groups, someone was they found a cure for definitely that is done. I mean, it's just basically people trying to spread misinformation, and it's not good at the end of the day. Some people believe that stuff, and it's just not good. Some people believe that 5G spreads corona. Doesn't make any sense. No, exactly. And then they would stop taking the basic measures, and they think, oh, it's because of this. So if I don't do this certain thing, I'll be okay. It's just a way to give them a false sense of security in their head, and and make the existing pandemic even worse, in my opinion.
Those are actually all very good points. I think Ray was the one who mentioned that it comforted people, right?
No. Yeah, I mean, most of them said, Sunja and Neve both agreed that it gave people a sense of security. And I guess from what they said, it does make sense. And if we were to look at conspiracy theories that are the 5G conspiracy theory, I guess the 5G conspiracy theory is the least, harmful one, because people just going to stop using 5G. That's about it. So it's just affecting their own personal lifestyle because, who doesn't want 5G? But the problem is the ones that get out of hand, like what Neve said, the one about the mask.
Yeah,
it's not just... the mask was one of it, but early on there were theories where it's just the flu. The most popular one is it's just the flu. And while they're right, it is a flu kind of symptom, but the problem is it's not just the flu. And we've already had anti-vaxxers against flu shots and stuff. So those are just going to become even more rampant. And then there are really, really really far-fetched ones, like Bill Gates created the virus to curb the population, and then the vaccinations he's going to give you as a microchip so you can control all your movements.
Oh yeah, that one. Yes.
Like that one is just natural selection.
He owns
Like,
he owns
there's
the
no-
patent. He owns
like,
the patent for the
Yeah,
virus.
so when you listen to how absurd and how over the top these theories are, you realize that people don't believe this. It's just that it has got too much traction, so that those people who, if I were to go for a very harsh term, be the wolf among the sheep. So the sheep follows what everyone else, all the rest of the sheep do, right? So for these people, at first it was just a absurd theory, but once they notice like their friends are following it, there are groups online, they read 3 pages of the internet, they start to get that mentality like, oh no, Bill Gates is this, don't wear the mask, 5G, the warm water thing, and then it becomes harmful. So like I said, at the start, it's just hilarious to watch. It's funny to see. It's fun to talk to friends or relatives who believe in theories like this, because it's just like inside they used to be like, haha. But then after a while, if you look at it now, things are getting much more serious.
Yeah, I agree with Gray, especially with that. With like how some of them I agree are really ridiculous. But I think one of the reasons, in my opinion at least, that this sort of conspiracy theories come out is also as time goes on, as like technology becomes more advanced and stuff, especially like 5G, for example. I think people are becoming more and more disconnected with what's happening around them. Like stuff is becoming so advanced that people just don't understand anymore. And they just come up with things that make sense to them with what they know.
I agree. And also, I think that in addition to that, there's another reason why people tend to believe this stuff, and it's because it's an easier explanation, somewhat. Like in the sense that, for example, people who deny global warming, things like that, it's fueled, I think, from a distrust of authority. Because the vast majority of people that believe in global warming, they don't do it because they understand every single mechanism that, like, they don't.
Yeah, that's true.
It's because they trust the people who are experts in this field, and they trust that they're telling the truth. So I guess in some sense, the people who are in authority do have some sort of responsibility to be able to convey the message properly to the rest of society, to make sure this stuff doesn't happen, or at least reduce it, because it will happen nonetheless.
I mean, like, mistrust of authority is like completely normal in society. Like, if someone they have to authority. Right? How will we be rebellious young people if we don't trust everything that comes? It's not possible. But I think it's more about like a few people who are very convincing in the way that they speak, and so people, they get swayed more easily. Like the way they speak, it sounds very scientific. As I saw the recently, he sounded very scientific and correct. Like he was fact checked up to the power. And
that's true.
And then it's basically people just, oh God, the government always lies, so they must be lying to us on this as well. And then just change it up.
That's true. Okay, so let me just pause for a minute. Vimal, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you guys hear me?
No.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so just to give our viewers a short intro, this is Vimal. Vimal, say hi.
Hi, guys. My name is Vimal.
Nice. For your information, Vimal, we are currently talking about the conspiracy theories surrounding COVID-19. And at the moment, we are sort of discussing how the reason we have conspiracy theories is because of people's distrust of authority. Okay, so I agree with Srinjoy that there is this element of mistrust of authority, like they want to rebel and stuff. But I think, how do I say this? It's almost a feature of conspiracy theories that they can never be proven. It's always like something like, oh, it's a global thing, like all the governments are doing it. They are hiding it very well. So it's like, even if you know it's not true, you can't say anything to convince them. It's like they want to believe it.
Yeah, the best part about it is that no matter how much proof you throw at them, they're still going to deny it. Like, the biggest conspiracy theory of all time is probably Earth is flat. And we have photos of a spherical blue object in space that proves to you that it's flat.
fake.
And they're
Fake.
still like, nah, it's fake. You edited that. You can teach them about the curve. You can be scientific about it. You can show them the rest of the planets, but they're still going to believe it's fake. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
I
Yeah.
understand some like if we just talk about conspiracy theories in general, like the moon landing at the time, it made sense because people might think it's fishy. There was a cutoff in the signal, so they could have changed the video recordings or whatever. I understand that at the time, right? But then now it seems that there's no way that that's a hoax, because like we've already sent people to space, we've sent rovers there. There are photos. There's the literal astronauts as proof, but people just deny it. So when it comes to COVID, right, we have scientists who are telling us, yes, this thing is airborne, and yet there are still theories saying it's not airborne. Right?
That's true.
There were theories saying that having a lockdown and cancelling flights does not stop the spread.
Oh yeah, okay, that's true.
There were
But then, just to differentiate, for the lockdown part, there was actually like two types. Obviously, one part was like the super conspiracy theory. It was like, the lockdown is bullshit. The government just wants to track us.
Yes.
But there was like another legitimate like scientific claim saying that instead of lockdowns, we should just have done very early testings on the whole population, like South Korea, basically. That's the legitimate part
for countries in which they have the infrastructure and not too big of a population.
That's true.
Like you try doing it in like America, who already has their own problems. It's a bit more difficult to curb, and especially now, like what I think China used to be leading in cases, and then it was Europe, yeah, because they just decided to have a power spike out of nowhere. And then America came in and they basically decided to speedrun the entire thing. Dominate everyone. And while a majority of the blame is put to how they handled it, Donald Trump being ignorant as usual and deciding not to see the negative impacts or whatever the situation at the time, and now pretending to be the hero of the day, is usually what he does. But you have to notice that there is some blame that has to be put on the people itself. Those who believe in it. The conspiracy theories, let's be real, most of it originated from America, right? The Karens and whatnot who decided that I do not want to wear a mask. I want to scream at everyone. There are people who legitimately started coughing at people when they aren't allowed to come into a shop because they don't believe in wearing a mask. They just start coughing at people and then running off. Like there's a point from conspiracy theory that slowly slides into global threat, and I think we are, and maybe not us, but people in America are getting to that point.
Okay, one thing, don't say not us. It happened in Singapore.
That's not us.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
I mean, but that's kind of close.
Yeah, I know.
You know the incident, right? Yeah. So, but okay, I will agree. I definitely agree with what Ray said. It's true. For the people in the US, right, there were some who claimed like it infringed on their rights and like their liberties.
Yeah.
So for me, again, this is my opinion, my interpretation. The thing with libertarian philosophy is that everyone is supposed to have the freedom to do whatever they want as long as they don't harm other people.
Yep.
And not wearing a mask is harming other people because you can spread the virus to them. So like it just falls apart, that sort of justification they gave.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we've seen sort of like what happens with a lot of these conspiracy theories, and I want to pick up from what Srinjoy talked about, how a lot of the people who spread conspiracy theories, they tend to be very convincing. Like I remember the one Hari sent in the group about, he was a doctor, I think Rashid, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, Rashid. And he was quite convincing. So how much do you think conspiracy theories are a cult of personality?
So there's this conspiracy on the term conspiracy theory itself, okay? That because they want to believe that they want to put on their tinfoil hats and believe that the government is doing everything wrong. People think that they're using the word conspiracy theory undermines the word conspiracy because it's always a theory and it's never real. Does that make sense? Like
you lost me at theory.
Okay, so they use the word conspiracy theory together, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
instead of conspiracy because they think the government is using the word theory after conspiracy to make it undermine the theory, basically.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, so it's basically a lot of people, like even the person that Hari sent, it was an anti-vaccine. He's a known anti-vaccine. And then he keeps saying like that this whole virus was created in a lab or something, and then gave it to China. It's basically very elaborate and has to be planned for like years and years for something like that. And that's what they want to believe. It's comfortable for them to believe that, oh, the government wanted population control. Right.
Yeah, I mean, so that's true. That is true.
Now, this guy acts like kind of like a messiah for these people, right? And he just says stuff like this. And then they just believe him, right? All the anti-vax moms were like, oh, my kids don't need vaccines. They'll be just fine. Okay. I mean, like, even when the corona vaccine comes out, I'm pretty sure people will be like protesting that I don't want to take it. I'll get the virus. Even the guy on that talk show or whatever said that the vaccine actually spreads the virus. This makes zero sense. This kind of like ideology will like even hurt people more, right? Because when the vaccine comes out eventually, end of this year or next year, people will refuse to take the vaccine, and the virus will like not get suppressed.
Yeah. I mean, in part, I agree. I especially like point out the part where you said Messiah, because like the video Hari sent, the guy was literally invoking God in every like third sentence.
Exactly. And
he was like, God didn't create viruses to do this.
Who said that?
No, he calls.
Remember that
he calls God the creator.
Like so, in the video Hari sent in the group, he claims to be a doctor, and then he basically says like, viruses don't jump from animals to humans. God didn't create them to do that.
Yeah. You know what Sunjoy was saying about convincing people and becoming a personality that people can follow and whatever, right? Do you guys know? Okay, you're gonna hear some clicking. Hold on. Yeah, do you guys know televangelist? Yeah, you know Kenneth Copeland, right? That one dude, that televangelist guy. And he is extremely convincing to people who are religious. All right. So he's got money from I think he's made like a couple of million just from donations alone by convincing people. You know, they're televangelists that convince people that they need money to buy themselves a private jet.
Yeah.
So when the right people, so like what Srinjoy was saying, when the right people start talking and they get the attention of everyone else, that's when it snowballs into what I would consider a threat, where too many people start to follow a wrong ideology.
I wanted to comment a bit about how you guys said that it's comfortable for people to believe this stuff. In the sense that if you look at a lot of conspiracy theories, they make it so it's easy for you to negate your own accountability. Like, for example, the mask wearing. You don't have to change any aspect of your lifestyle if you believe in this conspiracy theory instead of the mainstream opinion. And this is the case with a lot of different stuff. So I feel like sometimes people delude themselves into this false sense of security because it's just easier for them, even if there are lives at stake. And it may not be out of maliciousness. It's just
that is true. I actually think you have they're afraid of change, and they will try and find any justification so that they don't have to change.
I actually agree, Neve. I mean, that was kind of my whole thinking also. Like, I guess people are, like you said, people are afraid of change, and maybe they're also very afraid of this thing, so that they make up these conspiracy theories, so that they feel safer, maybe, or they help people around. They think that they're helping people around them feel safer, but in fact, that is not the case. It's just their own thinking that turns this thing around.
I find in a way. It's not okay. The conspiracy theories are very entertaining. I'm sure you've all had some fun with them. But I think even more than that, it's the attitude that gives birth to conspiracy theories that I find really fascinating. Because if you think about it, to believe in, okay, let's take something simple, all right? Not wearing masks. What's the conspiracy theory about masks? Why shouldn't we wear them?
There are a few.
Yeah, there was a lady complaining like we are disrupting God's breeding device.
Yeah. That was one of the strangest
What?
standpoints.
Yeah, there's a lady.
Wait, come again?
This lady,
What?
she was complaining to like a congressman,
Yeah.
like we are how to say like disrupting God's beautiful breeding device by wearing a mask. That's why they wouldn't want.
What do you mean? Oh, breathing
Yeah,
device.
breathing device,
Oh, mm.
Not breeding.
Okay. No, yeah, that's what I heard. I was wondering.
Sorry.
What I meant by that. Okay. Right,
Yeah,
okay.
Bimal, you're
So-
talking about that lady
Wow.
who was going at it at the Congress thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
the lady.
I know that video.
Things
That
gotta
was-
breathe. Things
Yeah.
gotta breathe.
So,
Yeah.
like what Bimal was saying, right? Like one of it is the
Yeah,
breeding. There are some who say that it's not airborne, so we don't have to wear a mask. And then the ones like you're restricting their rights as a citizen or whatnot. I don't know where that came
Yes.
from. And I guess another one which I am pretty sure is made up, but I've read some people claiming that there are certain illnesses that prohibit
Yeah.
people from wearing a mask.
Made up medical issues.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I have a condition where I cannot wear a mask. You are now
Oh, yeah. Yes,
where
I
I
have
stand.
heard that. I remember, okay, I read this on Reddit.
Mhm.
Basically, this, I think it's a politician. I'm not 100% sure. He was like, he was complaining or saying like, I've been wearing this mask for, I think, half an hour and like, it feels so stuffy. I can't breathe. This lady commented saying, the surgeon
Yep.
who operated on my knee while wearing a mask for 6 hours thinks you're a drama queen and also a liar. So in a way, I can't understand why people want to run away from reality. But I would say that it's a very toxic mentality. It's a very wrong mentality to have, that whenever you face a problem, just find a convenient excuse and run away from it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most of these people, like the congresswoman, the woman who's speaking at Congress and stuff,
Mhm.
people. I mean, they're American, right? But now,
Yeah.
now Trump started wearing a mask, and a lot of them are like, "Oh, now I wear a mask."
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
it's just plain old stupidity of these people. And
It's
they
more
want
like-
they just want to believe the what the leader does is correct, right? The supreme leader. So we just
Mm.
follow him,
Sure.
and then
And again, it comes back to the cult of personality. So it's the same with Trump. People just believe whatever he says because they want to.
Yeah. It's really like monkey see, monkey do.
True.
Okay, he's not wrong. He's not
In a
wrong.
way. So remember when I talked about how people are feeling disconnected with modern technology?
yeah,
Part of the point I wanted to bring out was how education in science, especially, is going down the drain in a lot of places across the world.
Mhm.
People, I mean, what do you guys think about this? Do you guys think like this is a valid point related to
It's valid
conspiracy
because
theories?
conspiracy
So-
theories stem from scientific facts that are facts that are not scientifically correct,
Yeah.
and it's facts that everyone should already know about if they went to school, or if they have common sense. I guess like anti-vaxxers, vaccinations. Maybe that's like a whole other complicated topic because there's some people who say this, some people say
Yeah.
that. But the mask, right? It's not just the flu. Okay, we have had enough diseases to know that this is not just the flu. And
Yes.
anyone with common sense will know that, right? Anyone with common sense would know that this travels airborne, right? That's how this virus travels. But because, like what Arvind said, people have a lack of scientific knowledge. But in my opinion, right, this is just my opinion. These people, they don't just lack scientific knowledge. They just don't have any basic common sense. Because you don't have to know, you don't have to study medicine like what Arvind and I do, Sanjay and I do now, to know that this is a serious case, right? People are dying.
Yeah.
Everyone goes by it's just 1%, in like America. Like, it's just 1% that's dying. Yeah, if you knew maths, 1% of a couple 100 million, couple 10 million, is a lot of people. Like, sure, in your classroom, 1% is barely a person sometimes. But in a wide scale view of a population, it's a lot of people. There's a famous thing where, I can't remember, was it A&W or Burger King? They came out with so how there's a quarter pounder in McDonald's?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of you know it's my favorite burger, right? So I can't remember which burger stall made it, but they made a 1/3 burger, that's 1/3,
Yeah.
and it failed. It failed because Americans thought that 1/4 was more than 1/3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard of
not
this
even
before. So
This was
Yeah,
a
I
real
remember
thing, and it failed. And if you think about that, right? If like people can't differentiate between 1/3 and 1/4, and a company failed in a product that would have actually been the greatest burger of all time, and you look at it now, where people
Wow.
are being like 1% isn't that much. The numbers, it's not that serious yet, and you're looking at millions and
That's
thousands
true.
and hundreds of thousands of people dying.
It's true.
It's common sense now. It's nothing to do with having a lack. I mean, Arvin's not wrong. You know, science is not being as
Okay, I will just add one thing. It's not just science; it's also a lack of knowledge in basic maths and
yes.
stats.
It's a lack of knowledge in a lot of things in schools, and so
Yep.
bad upbringing that lacks common sense. That's just
I-
it, man. Because
Yeah.
I've seen some videos of Karens. I've seen some videos of conspiracy nuts and whatever, and they're scary, man.
No, but then I think it's more to do with. I mean, some people I know who are educated still spreading like absolute
Mhm.
garbage information.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
I think it's more of the lack of personal. So if someone in your group or your family doesn't get infected, you won't actually know the impact, in a sense.
Fair.
Because these people like tend to say, "Oh, it's just 1%," because it's not one of your family members who are in that 1%.
yeah, that's true.
It's not one of your friend group who's in that 1% or someone you know. These people just
It's always the other guy's problem.
yeah, it's always it's not my problem because my stuff is already
Not my problem.
Right.
I shouldn't follow the rules.
Yeah, so I don't have to follow the rules because none of my family members have. All the other
Yeah.
people have. It's just
And-
having maybe even a lack of empathy. I mean, it's kind of clear. They don't-
That's an interesting
Yeah,
point.
it's just people don't want to. They just want to discredit first of all everything that people say because why would you believe anything anymore? Everything is a lie. And the second thing is they don't care if it's not their own problem or it's someone else's problem. Even though the whole world is suffering, economies are going to absolute garbage, but it's someone else's.
It's the mindset that the world revolves around.
Yeah. It's definitely because they are not affected personally by it. I've even seen on Twitter like people last time who used to believe in all these conspiracy theories and like they do not wear masks when they go out, like, mainly in the US. I've seen some people on Twitter who like when they like get COVID and they recover from it, they now educate people to wear a mask. You know, they turn around a whole 180.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So
I have a question. Because
Yes,
I've
please.
never been able to use this, and I so really want to. Have any of y'all ever met a really dedicated conspiracy theorist or a Karen?
Yes.
Yes.
Damn
Okay,
it, I never got
I will.
I want to meet.
I will say this. I have met someone who is very adamant that the US created coronavirus. It was bought by China and then it accidentally broke out in China.
Yes, the classic government released the virus.
Who is the person?
No, here's the thing. They didn't release it purposely. It's like he's
Accidentally.
very sure that it was accident. Yes, exactly.
So Arvind met someone like that. Was it Vimal who met?
I've known someone who, like, we were talking about this COVID thing. It was a friend's friend,
Okay.
and he believed this is the dumbest conspiracy theory ever. Lah. He believed that the new, the 5G.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was what caused the COVID. I don't even know how, but that's what he believed.
The radioactive waves, dude. Come on.
It's-
Open your eyes.
Always the waves. When you can't see the waves, it cause brain cancer, they cause COVID, cause everything.
and it causes COVID.
What about Neve?
Yeah, I've actually met someone who was so convinced that the earth is flat. He's actually like sent me videos
Oh,
of like
God.
us asking me to see, oh look, they could just copy and paste the clouds on the globe,
We have
Copy and paste.
Wow.
since we have like 3 victims in this podcast that have experience with this, right? Can y'all just explain how y'all dealt with it? Because if it was me, like I'm not a violent person, but but like if it was me, like I would love to get into an argument with someone like that. Like it is my lifelong dream to meet a Karen at least once in my life. Just
if you want to get in an argument and have a drink along with the argument, come to my
Oh no.
house.
Oh boy.
Oh, no.
But like, yeah, I guess it seems like a very common thing, these conspiracy nuts and these Karens and whatever. But the thing is,
Yes.
I guess in Malaysia, all of my friends that I know of have never met anyone like this. So ever so often we wonder, like, is this really a serious thing, or is it just something that's being blown out of proportion? But obviously now, after COVID, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this is a real issue. But for you guys who've dealt with this, how do you guys actually deal with this? Like, do you try to use the common sense move, or do you just laugh?
You pause your brain, dude.
Just shoot
Pause
yourself?
your brain. Yeah, pause your brain.
How do you guys deal with it?
Yeah, I was gonna say at first I laughed because I thought he was joking,
I cry.
but then he kept going on, and I was like, oh shit.
But do you try? Do you try and like tell them?
I tried a bit,
It doesn't work, right?
but then I realized there was no point because he was so deep into it. Like people, they go to extreme lengths to believe this stuff because they know like
That's
it's not
true.
something that's commonly established, and everyone they tell is going to question them on it. So they know how to like so-called justify.
They have more experience.
Yeah, they are older than you, so they know.
Yeah, because
No, you know that.
because to other people
Wait.
it's something that you wouldn't even like think twice of.
How would you say is the best way to curb this pandemic of conspiracy theorists?
Not flat Earth.
This conspiracy theorists in general. Because I mean, obviously, we can't say education because that does not work, right? We already know for a fact.
Okay, I do not agree with that. So that's actually my answer and my stand, which is education is the way forward. Because, okay, a lot of you mentioned how a lot of the conspiracy theories come out of the States. The main reason that happens is because of how religious groups are excessively strong in America
Very strong.
in determining the science syllabus.
Oh, okay, he's not wrong.
That's true.
Have you guys heard the debate like where they wanted to remove evolution from science textbooks?
Yeah.
I've actually met someone at NewMed who is a good friend who did not believe in evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Don't expose me now.
He's like a medical doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting.
I mean, he's not a medical doctor. He's going to be a medical doctor. That's one. And then I met a lecturer who also did not believe in evolution,
Exposing.
who proudly proclaimed it to the class.
Is this new? Is this...
No names, please.
Okay.
But
Oh no.
yeah. So the thing is, I've noticed that, okay, at least for evolution, it tends to be very tied with religious groups and stuff.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Again, it's a question, I think, of people, how do I put it? Taking the religious texts too literally on the one hand, and not actually trying to verify the actual evidence we have for evolution, for example. Because it isn't just a theory. Sorry for going on a bit of a rant, but it isn't just a theory. There is like actual visceral proof that you can see or experience.
Yeah.
That's how scientific theories are established.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so enough about evolution. So back to Ray.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no. So okay, I guess education, like teachings and stuff, yeah, that works if you want to avoid it from happening. But what I was
Yes.
curious was like the people now who are conspiracy nuts.
Yep.
We know that we can't teach them or give them facts to convince them otherwise because they are
Yeah.
so
Stubborn.
Yeah, they're stubborn. Stubborn people. But what do you think would be the best form of action when dealing with people like that?
I will just say one quote. Don't argue with a fool because he will bring you down to his level and beat you with experience.
Just leave them be. Next section. Okay. Is that your standpoint? Because I'm all for that. So now, like, honestly, it's obviously funny. Like, we're all having laughs having this podcast because it's the funniest thing in the world to think that people actually can convince themselves on something so absurd. But at the same time,
Yes.
it is very concerning. Obviously, there are conspiracy theories and whatnot in Malaysia, but it's not that impactful as what we see now. Malaysia has their own of issues, right?
Yep,
They are more into the...
Has anyone noticed Malaysian science textbooks don't say anything about evolution?
Yes.
I have actually never noticed that because
What is evolution?
I know.
Yeah, I like... Yeah, there's stuff in evolution that they opt out.
The thing is, they mentioned a bit without actually saying that it's evolution.
Wait, they did?
No, you know the part about the the pepper moths, remember?
Pepper moth.
There was
Yeah.
very little, but they only talk about
Oh yeah.
like
Yeah,
micro
true.
evolution. That's not really a thing, but it's
Oh,
kind of how
Yeah.
people like reconcile
Basically.
their beliefs with what we know.
So I
True,
guess
true.
in the end
That's
of the
true.
day, we are
Yeah.
tying, we're putting education as part of the blame for causing this, right?
True,
Okay,
definitely.
that's good. I mean, I guess we can clear that up.
But what else though, other than
Oh,
education?
like what Srinjoy
social
said.
media.
Srinjoy is not here. One is okay. Vimal's right. Social media, but what Srinjoy said about convincing people, having a personality that people can follow, and
Mhm.
ideology that people can follow, right, from someone who's made it up. That also plays a very big part, and also it ties to what Vimal said about social media. That you put one thing on Reddit, people read it, and then it spreads to Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
And the best part is, right, it could have been a joke.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
someone
exactly.
could have made a joke about it, and it would become a cult following of something serious. So it shows that social media
Yes.
blows things out of proportion really, really quickly and really rapidly.
Yes, that's very true.
I mean, obviously, common sense would be don't believe everything on the internet, right? And
Yes.
reading three pages of moms hate vaccinations on Facebook does not make you a certified anti-vaxxer with
Genius.
the knowledge to back up your claims, right? But the problem is, if you look at those people who go to like
Yes.
America or even Europe, right? Like, let's not just bash America because I love bashing America, but like America, Europe, those talk show hosts who go there and they talk to the people, right? They talk about the current political situation, the COVID or whatever. People back their claims with stuff they just randomly read online. Like, oh,
Yeah.
why do you not wear a mask? Oh, I read on Facebook that, wearing a mask is bad for your health. But like, you're just reading fake news, right? So I guess education is one thing.
Yeah.
People need to realize that not everything on the internet is true. Like, it's one of the golden rules of the internet. Like, please back up your claims, right?
Yeah.
If you have time to Google a fake conspiracy theory,
Mhm.
you have time to back it up. And if you find proof that it is otherwise, you should put two and two together, right?
Mhm.
They lack research also.
I
Yes.
would also
Like
add.
just randomly say anything they believe. They don't even do their own research on it.
They make up their own research.
Make up your own results.
Yeah. There's actually another way I thought of to like combat conspiracy theories, like in person, if you happen to meet them, give them another ridiculous
Yes.
theory that
The
contradicts
best
theirs,
one
and then
I've read
argue
so
with it.
far, you know how people think Bill Gates created the virus?
Yes.
And he's going to put a microchip in the vaccinations
Yeah.
to track you?
Yeah.
Theory. Apparently, this is a thing that's going
Yes.
on now. I can't 100% verify this, but people are saying, people are telling these people who believe in this, that if you wear a mask, Bill Gates can't track you with facial recognition.
Mhm.
Smart. That's smart.
Dude, I'm not even kidding. People do this, and apparently it's working
Hmm.
because they're like, oh god, I don't want Bill Gates to track me, so people are wearing masks now.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might just use that
It
someday.
makes perfect sense, right? Like you
Yeah, it
make
makes- yeah.
theory that's so ridiculous to debunk an already existing theory, or to make it work hand in hand for yourself. It's the best thing in the world.
Yes.
Like you could say vaccinations are it's a way to cleanse you of whatever religious sin and whatever. You can say the priest blessed it, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be like, oh, shoot me up with that, Umi, and I want to get blessed. As long as you conform to their belief, and if you're smart enough to twist it in a way that is actually,
They believe
yeah, I'm all for that, man. I'm all for that.
Yeah, same.
we need to have like a task force, like the conspiracy theorist task force that comes up with theories to combat the theories.
Counter conspiracy.
Excellent. What an outstanding
Yes,
move.
that.
I'm okay. I guess everyone has found out my stand on this. Like, I just think people should get common sense for once in their life. But obviously, those of us who know better should take the time to try and teach our friends, Neef, your flattered friend, try and make them realize. But if you realize that there's no way of convincing someone, just leave them be. Just leave them be. It saves yourself so much more pain, and
Yeah.
you should just work on making sure that the friends around you and people you meet are informed
Mhm.
about serious situations at hand. And don't use 5G.
Like Chris said, like if if there's no point convincing them, then you might as well not waste your energy. As long as their beliefs don't have actual consequences. Like flat earth is whatever, like no one's gonna die because they believe in flat earth. But stuff like the masks, the vaccines, that is something that we should be doing something about. Yeah.
True.
So I feel conspiracy theories are there, just because people do not want to believe, want to make up their own beliefs. And I guess it's okay to spread your own opinion. We're not against that. You have your freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want. Well, of course, please try to back up whatever you're trying to say with hard evidence, evidence that everyone knows of, and just don't simply spread rumors. We willy-nilly, just spread rumors to everyone, and then create some drama or something, and it might risk someone's life, like even this not wearing a mask thing, it has risked a lot of lives.
True.
People in US are dying at a very, very dangerous rate, and their daily cases are up to 60,000 a day. Yeah,
500,000 deaths.
There are facts outside there. Please, just try to. They should also accept other people's opinions. They should listen to what other people have to say. Be open a bit.
Yeah.
Final thought: people will be stupid.
Yes.
Funny to be stupid. Yes. Theories are nice. I mean, I'm just gonna put this out. One of my friends, he said, I can't come over to your house because it's a closed space, but we can go outside somewhere.
Oh,
I mean,
that is big brain, dude. That's big brain.
Biggest IQ, and the thing is, we were talking about conspiracy. Every house nowadays has a different theory on the virus. Dude. Especially you got Indian parents, they're thinking some next level stuff. Dude. They're like, you can't go out because of this. The virus can't get you. Yeah. So basically, I mean, I think it's still worth educating. People do know. If they're very close to you can still try. But then I agree with Ray and Neve on if they're too distant, there's no point in educating them because they won't get it. They aren't convinced, and that's that.
I would say that I agree with most of the views here. A couple of points, I think. First of all, obviously, as many of you have stated, education is important. You can use a more ridiculous theory to get them to change if it has to come to that. But I think more than anything, people are scared and people don't know what to trust anymore, especially with some of the errors that happened when COVID-19 first came out in a lot of countries. So I think it's also the onus is also on the leaders to try and regain their trust and explain why it happened. Because mistakes happen. The important thing is people need to understand why it happened and what you're doing to make sure it doesn't happen again. I mean, that's it. And as for Trump, let's just hope he dies.
God bless America. That's what you have to say. God bless. Okay. Yeah. I mean, he started wearing a mask now.
Because honestly, okay, so there's that. So he finally changed a bit.
At least people will wear a mask now.
Yeah.
Do you guys realize how low the standard has become? That for a president to be okay, he just has to wear a mask.
The standard for him, especially, is very low, right?
Yeah. But you know what? End of the day, the thing is, we need to work together to try and spread true facts. I guess correct facts.
Or
prevent this kind of stuff. That's about it.
Let everyone. Let the don't wear masks.
Yeah, that too.
Whoever's right.
Okay, so thank you everyone for listening, and this is The Second Opinion, signing out.